Am I crazy for refusing to let my husband name our daughter after his best friend? Hey friends, come on in. My name is Mike, and today we are playing Am I Crazy, where we read Reddit stories and determine, are they crazy or just maybe what? I don't know. That's why we're playing. This is kind of creepy. Let's change it back. That was weird. Let's just start, okay? What do you guys like my hair? Am I crazy for refusing to let my husband name our daughter after his best friend? I, 29 female, gave birth to our daughter 3 days ago.
Congratulations.
And we're somehow still arguing about her name. I'm writing this while she's asleep because I can't sleep anyway. And I honestly don't even know if I'm overreacting anymore. My husband, 31 male, has wanted to name her Claire for basically my entire pregnancy. He told me it was the name of one of his closest friends who died a few years before we met. I said no almost immediately, not because I dislike the name, I actually think it's pretty, but because I wasn't comfortable naming our first child after somebody I'd never met or even heard of until I got pregnant. I figured he'd be disappointed, we'd throw around a bunch of other names, and eventually we'd find one we both liked. That never happened.
Okay.
Every few weeks, he'd bring up Claire again, sometimes while we were already talking about names and sometimes completely out of nowhere. By the end of my pregnancy, I was honestly tired of having the same conversations over and over. The thing that's bothering me now isn't even the name. We've been together for over 5 years, married for 2, and somehow I'd never heard this woman's name until I was pregnant. I've met his parents, his brothers, his college friends, people he's known forever, and nobody has ever mentioned a Claire. This sounds a little sketchy.
I suspect foul play.
I never talked to Charlotte about this. I mean, Charlotte knows all about this, but one of my really close friends passed away, unfortunately, when I was younger. And I thought it'd be nice to have, if I have a boy, include the name Johnny in there. And I think she would like that. Maybe we pitch this to her together. Can you guys help me? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I even asked one of his college friends at our baby shower because I thought maybe I'd somehow forgotten hearing about her, and he just looked confused and said he didn't know who I was talking about.
Whoa.
Then after our daughter was born, while we were filling out the paperwork, my husband asked one last time if I'd reconsider. I said no, and that's when he told me he'd always imagined naming his daughter after her. I asked why he'd never told me that before, and he just shrugged and said he didn't think it mattered. You think that if that name was so important to you, you would have mentioned it earlier on? Especially if you had a friend who passed away that was that close to you. Like, Charlotte learned about my friend Johnny almost immediately, and like, we're very close with his family. Look, everyone's different. Some people who have friends who pass away aren't comfortable talking about it, and that's like totally okay. I always found that talking about Johnny helped me remember him, helped me get through everything, and I love telling stories about him to Charlotte and reminiscing about him, even though she never met him. So I find it kind of hard to believe that he never mentioned her once. And it's a huge red flag that none of the friends even know who she is. We've argued about it twice since we got home. He keeps saying I'm making this into something it isn't, but I just don't understand how somebody can matter enough that you picture naming your future daughter after them, yet somehow they never come up in 5 years together. My mom thinks I should have let him have the name because it's obviously meant something to him for a long time. My sister thinks that's exactly why I shouldn't. Maybe I'm just exhausted because I've barely slept since I gave birth, but I'm so tired of feeling like I'm missing part of the story. I've gotten to the point where I'm thinking about calling his mom and asking who Claire was because I don't know what else to do. It feels completely out of line, but so does finding out about somebody this important while I'm filling out our daughter's birth certificate. Would I be overreacting if I called her? Or am I crazy, should I say?
Go.
I mean, if you talk to all of his friends about her and they don't even know who she is, if he hasn't mentioned her, you have to wonder, does she really exist?
Buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper.
Personally, I think you should just ask his mom. I don't think it's like that big of a deal. Because like, you know, if you ask his mom and she's like, oh yeah, Claire, we really don't talk about her. Maybe he just like didn't want to talk about her for years because he couldn't, because some people can't. But if she's like, who? Who's Claire? Then you know something more sinister and weird is going on here, especially if she doesn't know all the context behind this naming debacle. Not overreacting, ask his mother about Claire. Someone else commented, does he have any photos of him with Claire? A group photo with their friend group? Not overreacting. Is there any evidence? Like, I would go looking for evidence. You're 29 and he's like in his 30s, so you're gonna have some photos. I mean, it kind of depends on if Claire was a friend of his that passed away very young. That'd be like one thing, but this seems a little fishy to me. Tell him to get a fish and name it Claire. Claire. The answer is no. You've been saying no for months, and if he's never mentioned her to anyone before now, I almost guarantee you it was some type of hidden romance thing. Not overreacting at all. Oh, maybe it was like a little fling he had with a woman, the one that got away. The great white buffalo, as some people call it.
The great white buffalo.
Assuming that this kid takes his last name, you should be able to choose what her name is. For what it's worth, I like the name Claire, but I think you should be able to choose. You're the one who carried the baby for 9 months, and he gets to choose the middle name. Maybe make her middle name Claire.
How about no?
Someone else commented something interesting. Yep, my ex named his daughter after me and told his wife that I was sleeping underground. That was gross all around. Oh God, that's weird. Man, I hope that's not the case, but well, the good news is we have an update. And it's not the only one.
Ready for warp, sir.
Let's punch it.
I wasn't expecting to update this 2 days later, but a lot happened really fast. Go on. First, thanks to everyone who commented. A bunch of you told me to talk to my mother-in-law because she'd probably know the answer. I went back and forth on it for a while because I felt weird to go around my husband like that, but eventually I did call her, which I think was a good call. It's not like that big of a deal, especially if you approach it in the right way. She asked if I wanted to meet her for coffee the next morning, so I did. I honestly thought I was going to leave feeling embarrassed. I figured she'd tell me Claire was just a really close friend, and I'd realize I'd let myself get carried away because I'm exhausted and emotional and just had a baby. The first thing she asked me was what my husband already told me about Claire. That is a weird first question. I just got goosebumps. Ooh, I don't think you're that crazy. I think this story is pretty crazy. I said that she'd been his best friend and he wanted to name our daughter after her. She just kind of looked at me for a second. Then she told me they'd been engaged. No! The more we talked, the more names came up. His parents knew, his brother knew, and one of his old roommates knew because they'd lived together at the time. Funny enough, it was the same friend who I'd asked at our baby shower. No one had told me anything. Oh my gosh, that's like a tough position to be in for that friend. I'm not condoning this. I think you gotta always be upfront, especially with your partner, but I don't think that that's the friend's job to tell her that. Maybe he should have said, you got to talk to your husband about this. I don't know if this is my place or I feel comfortable, instead of denying even knowing her or her existence. Apparently, most people just knew he'd been dating someone who got sick. His mom told me Claire was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer not too long after they started dating. Things moved fast after that because they knew they probably didn't have years together, so he proposed. Oh, that's so sad. It's weird that he didn't tell her about it, but that, oh my gosh, that is so, so tragic. I don't like that he lied, but I want to hug him because of this incident. She passed not long after. She also told me she assumed I'd known about all of this for years. When we got engaged, she thought he'd already told me. Same thing when we got married. Same thing when I got pregnant. I call bullshiza, but maybe I'm just looking to point fingers. I drove home after that and just waited for him to get back from work because there wasn't any chance I was going to act like everything was normal. I confronted him that night and it went awful. Truly, he acted like an entirely different person. At first, he wanted to know why I'd gone to his mom. Then it became that I had no right to dig into his past. Then it became that Claire had nothing to do with our marriage. Then it was that I betrayed his trust by involving his family. It just kept changing. Oh, that's just does not look good on you, bro. That's not the right way to handle being called out for a lie. Pointing fingers and stuff like that is not the way to go. You gotta just take it on the chin. You can't play victim. You gotta be honest. You've been with this woman for years. You have a kid with her now. And she doesn't know about a girl that you were engaged with who passed away, like so tragically. I just don't like how he's deflecting. I feel really bad for him, but she has a right to confront him and he better explain himself. I'd answer one thing and we'd somehow end up arguing about something else. I asked him when he planned on telling me he'd been engaged because we'd already been together for over 5 years, married for 2, and now we had a daughter. He said he always meant to tell me, but he didn't. He never flipping told me, and I'm so angry at how selfish it was. I packed a bag that night and went to my sister's house with the baby. Before people assume we're getting divorced, that's not why I left. I still love this man and we have a child together. I couldn't imagine raising her split in 2 households. I left because we were both angry and I could tell the argument wasn't going anywhere. Wow, like very smart adult play by you, very emotionally intelligent. Sometimes like when I'm in a bad mood, overtired, hungry, and I get into an argument with Charlotte, I just say, hey, I need 10. I'm not feeling up to this. Can I just like walk it off right now? Gather myself, gather my thoughts and come back. Sometimes it's better to take 10 like Melanie.
Give me 10. Give me 10.
And then come back refreshed. And also think about it, you know, you just had a kid. You're both sleep deprived. You're probably at each other's throats already. So smart play by her. My sister's been helping with the baby. Yesterday she realized I hadn't eaten since breakfast and practically shoved a sandwich into my hands because I'd completely forgotten. This whole thing has been exhausting and I haven't slept at all. A few people asked about the birth certificate. The couple told us we had time to finish the paperwork after we left, so we weren't forced to pick a name before going home. Obviously, we aren't going to leave it forever, but right now, neither of us are in any position to make that decision. My sister started calling her Ellie because she said she felt weird saying the baby all the time. Give me the baby.
I would like to see the baby.
And somewhere over the last day, I've started doing it too. I don't know if that's going to end up being her name, but it's the working filler while the Shiza storm is going on. My husband has been calling and texting since I left. He wants to see our daughter, and we've made that happen because none of this has anything to do with her. Whatever is going on between us, she's still his daughter and he loves her. I don't want people getting the idea that I'm trying to keep her away from him because I'm not. I've seen a lot of comments saying the real issue is that he loved someone before me. It really isn't. If he'd told me about Claire years ago, I don't think we'd be here. I would have felt awful for him. I probably would have cried hearing what happened, but I wouldn't have held it against him. What really hurts is the lies and the manipulation. But then again, can you even call it lying? It's not like I ever asked him, oh, were you married before? Because who the hell asked that? Instead, I found out because he wanted our daughter to have her name, and then I found out from his mother that she'd been his fiancée. That's the part I can't look past. Yeah, that's the part I can't understand too. Maybe the argument is that it was too hard to talk about her, but 5 years of dating, married 2 years, having a baby, she didn't come up once, and then getting very defensive when she calls you out. I mean, that's just like, that's very, very strange. I looked back on my other post and it feels like it was written by someone else. 2 days ago, I thought we were arguing about a name. God, I was so naive. I suppose the question has turned into, would I be overreacting to leave him over this? I'm certainly mad, but I don't think we're at that point yet, and I don't want that for my baby either. Anyway, that's where things are. Thank you all so much for the support. This has been a really great place to be able to vent and get advice. A very special thanks to all of those who helped me realize I wasn't crazy. I look crazy, and I know crazy, and you are not crazy. This is just such a sad story, to be honest with you. The part I don't like is how he just sort of denied it or brushed it off or pointed fingers and got defensive instead of being like, look, I'm so sorry. I was going through a period of grief. I've never felt comfortable talking about it. This is the story. Instead, he was like, no, why would you go behind my back and talk to my mom? It's not right. That's not right. Now, do I think it's worth leaving him over? That remains to be seen. Do you love him? Has he been a great partner to you? These are the kind of questions you have to ask yourself. This is probably an extremely tragic thing. I think the best course of action would actually be to sit down with him and his family and have an open discussion where you get to ask whatever you want and they have to be fully honest. The thing that I can't wrap my head around is why wouldn't he have brought it up? Why wouldn't you talk about it? And the longer that you covered it up, the worse it looks. I don't think you're crazy for wanting to leave him, but I do think that with a young baby, maybe it's best you try to work through it. Maybe take a little bit of time, stay with your sister as long as possible, and try to work through it. This would end my marriage. If a man who I married hid an entire prior engagement from me, tried to name my child after said passed away fiance, and then got mad at me for being upset, it would absolutely destroy my trust in that person. I wish OP the best in her decision. You asked him who Claire was, he lied repeatedly. You asked his friend, he lied. You asked the family, they didn't mention much, and I think that you have every right to leave him if you want to. It's all about what makes you happy and whether or not you have the ability to trust him again. This is a pretty big thing to cover up. What I will say is that if this woman hadn't passed, this would be a whole different situation. Look at his past behavior. Have you guys had arguments about this before? Does he have issues with telling the truth? The thing that bothers me is that none of his family or friends told her about him. Maybe that was by design. And it's not really their responsibility. It's really OP's husband to tell her about it. I think we're all gonna have different opinions here. I'm open to talk about this in the comments, so feel free to comment here. I don't know if it's worth divorcing. I think, in my opinion, I don't think you're crazy, first of all. I think that you need to have some time apart, and I think you need to have a very candid conversation with him and his family and friends and get the full scoop. You have to decide this on your own. If you can't trust him again, if you think this is something that you can't get over, then you do what's best for you at the end of the day. Ultimately, not crazy. He's crazy for not telling you, and I really don't like how he reacted when you confronted him about it. Am I crazy for telling my girlfriend I'm tired of chasing her after 6 years together? So this is an oldie, however, there is a recent update. So stay tuned.
Do you speak any English?
My girlfriend, 30 female, and I, 31 male, have been together for 6 years. I've been planning to propose soon, but I've been struggling with issues I've brought up since day one of our relationship that haven't changed. Red flag. The main issue, I feel like I'm constantly chasing her for attention and affection, especially in social settings. When we're in groups with her family or friends, she won't come to me. I always have to go to her. She won't initiate conversation with me unless I speak first. And even then, she just gives short answers without asking me anything back. That's so weird to me. After 6 years, you have to like pull teeth. I can't imagine what it's going to be like after 10.
It's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard.
When I suggest things, she'll say no, but when someone else suggests the exact same thing, she'll do it. What makes this harder is that she's bubbly and engaging with other people, but cold towards me. It's like she saves all her warmth for everyone else. I feel she always prioritizes her convenience instead of our relationships. Some examples of what I mean. 1, we usually meet closer to her place, a 2-hour commute for me. Even for my birthday celebration, we plan each other's birthday, she still wanted me to travel to her area rather than meeting somewhere more convenient for me. At social gatherings with her family, she'll leave me alone without saying anything, even though I don't know her family well and was expecting her to include me, or at least stay with me, or just check in from time to time if I'm all right. Yeah, like I have a huge family, and so like when Charlotte and I started dating, it was overwhelming for her, right? She comes from a smaller family. So I would like always try to make sure that I was there with her. We'd always like have eye contact, like a secret like. But I would always check on her. I think that's like the right thing to do in a relationship. When our relationship was struggling and was about to break up, I suggested couples therapies, which I offered to pay for. Her first concern was that the location was inconvenient with her. Man, this girl sounds about as enjoyable as a
Pair of wet socks.
I've raised these issues repeatedly over 6 years, but nothing has changed. Recently, I sent her a message saying that after 6 years together, I don't want to feel like I'm still chasing her or courting her, and that I'm not going to pursue her all the time anymore. Her response was just question mark. And then silence.
Clap if you care.
It's been over a day and she hasn't messaged me. Historically, I've always been the one to reach out first and apologize, even when I'm the one who's hurt. I decided not to respond to the question mark because I felt like it would just be chasing her again. But now I'm second guessing myself. Was I too confrontational? She's never been in a relationship before, so maybe she doesn't understand what she's doing. The fact that she answered with just a question mark and I think you got to run for the hills, man. I think you should have left a long time ago. There's something about the dynamic in your relationship that is unhealthy. And you clearly established it in the beginning, and you didn't create boundaries, so it perpetuated this power dynamic, this weird hierarchy where you sort of bend at the knee for her. I don't like how you just sent that via text. Like, I kind of wish you confronted her in person. But the fact that her response was just a question mark and she didn't fight for it or call you back, I think says it all. It's stale. She doesn't respect you or care about you. You're not crazy because this is just clearly a one-sided relationship and she's not putting any effort in, and she's putting more effort with other people, which I really don't like either. So OP added some notes here that he wanted to give for some context. Thank you guys all for the advice. I'm now starting to see how dumb I am for not considering to end this sooner. I will not message her and will give an update if she ever reaches out. Also, an info I wanted to add. I lost my father 2 years ago and I've been struggling with depression. I'm sorry. I guess part of the reason I put up with this is that I really didn't want to lose another important person in my life. I'm sorry you're going through that, but you deserve to be loved and you deserve attention. And just because you don't want to be alone doesn't mean you should be putting yourself through that. Putting yourself in an intimate relation with someone who's not even intimate with you. Emotionally, I mean. Number 2, this is mostly on social settings, but it's fine when it's just the two of us. We were happy the past years, though yes, she did indeed have selfish tendencies sometimes. And I'm at my limit about this issue, I guess. Let me clarify the dynamics with her family. The main thing is that I'm still sort of the outsider and she's much closer to them compared to me because I only see them a couple of times a year. I actually sometimes feel much more comfortable conversing with her family than her because they would ask me questions to extend the conversation. I actually got super close to her 2 male cousins instantly because I found out we share some hobbies in gaming and anime. But even with this, is it not fair for me to expect her to come to me from time to time and not me chasing her around all day? Or is it too much overthinking? No, you're not overthinking. She has to make an effort. Relationships are 50-50. Especially if you're long distance. I can't believe you would drive every time to go see her for 2 hours. That's absolute bullshiza.
Why did you do this?
You know better, right? Why?
I think she's taking advantage of you emotionally. She knows that you're afraid of losing her and you would do anything for her. You've set this precedent. And I think that you're not overthinking. I think you definitely were right to not respond to her. Well, it's not over there because we have one
Teeny tiny small update.
small update. I couldn't help myself. After she ignored my vulnerable messages for 2 days, I reached out again last night with messages explaining how hurt I was by her dismissiveness and asked if she wanted to meet up. No!
What? Why? Why?
That's not what you're supposed to do. She knew you would do that, and you did it. You fell into her little trap. She grabbed you like a little mouse. That's not what you're supposed to do, dude. That was pretty crazy. I also told her I think we have an anxious avoidant attachment dynamic and sent her videos and detailed explanations about it, hoping she'd finally understand where I'm coming from and maybe even give us a starting point on how we can fix the relationship. Her response? Please give it to me. She completely ignored everything I said and just told me, I'm going to the open bracket, insert mall we used to meet at, close bracket. Anyway, you can come if you want. Oh my God. F this girl, man. She sucks. Get out of this relationship. You did all this research to try and fix this relationship, even though you shouldn't have reached out, bad boy. And she dismissed you again. Another reason why you should just not text her. Delete her number from your phone. She does not care about you that much. So even after pouring my heart out about feeling dismissed and invisible, she dismissed me and made me feel invisible. Again, it really hurts. I wish that was it. I wish it was just over, but guess what? We have another update. We got an update! Sorry, I was a little excited. Final update. We're engaged. Why are you engaged? That is not the update that I wanted to hear. No.
No, God!
Why? We're engaged. I know. 99% of you told me to break up with her. Honestly, I don't blame you based on what I shared. Some of you will probably be disappointed reading this, but just hear me out. What could you possibly say? What could you possibly say that would change my mind? During the meetup after the small update, we had the most honest conversation we've ever had in 6 years. She was open and acknowledged that she might have a dismissive, avoidant attachment style stemming from past trauma. I was actually the one who brought it up and shared resources about it, and it just clicked for her. Something she'd never really considered before, but it was dead on. We're committed to couples therapy, and she's also open about individual therapy herself. And yes, I proposed and she said yes. Because even through all of this, I realized I can't imagine living my life with anyone else. Even in moments like these, I'd still choose her and that I really love her so much. I'm going in with clear eyes though. I'll keep communicating my needs and I'm hopeful that with the work we're both putting in, we can finally break the cycle we're stuck in. Thanks for the advice either way. It genuinely helped me have that conversation. Not the a-hole. I'm shocked you could keep this up for 6 years. No judgment. I think plenty of people do stuff like this and it's human to love someone and want to make it work. I'm almost always single because I give feeling unseen and unwanted in a relationship 1 year tops. Usually less than half of that, LOL. It could be that you have different approaches to things or some kind of explanation like she is masking with other people, but feels comfortable enough with you to be herself. But if you have continuously brought things like this up for 6 years and she responds with distance and she hasn't been open to counseling, oh my gosh, do not get married. OP responds, I really love her and wanted this to work so badly, but I'm really tired right now. I guess there's always a limit to everything. There were so many red flags. You deserve better than this. But I feel bad for you because some people build this narrative in their head that they don't deserve better. Like their self-esteem is low and they think that they deserve what they have. There is just a bigger, more beautiful world out there for you. If you just take a little step outside this dome of low self-esteem, you'll see that there are people out there who will love you for who you are. And it doesn't have to be like this, but that's something that you have to work on yourself. I hope you do. And I hope this relationship works out. Hey, I mean, I don't like how it's taken 6 years for it to get to this point, but I hope you guys work it out and I hope she gets better at giving you the attention that you deserve. Not the a-hole. You told her what you wanted and needed in your relationship and her juvenile response was ? Wow, the only thing serious about this stunted, selfish woman is that she is seriously an a-hole. Reread what you wrote here. Would you advise a friend to stay in a relationship like this? I don't think so. Be a friend to yourself and end this one-sided relationship for yourself now. Trust that she already has. Move on, OP, and work on your self-esteem. OP responds, yeah, I was really taken aback from her response, or lack thereof. I expected her to at least make me clarify or talk about it more, even if she doesn't agree with what I said. Wait a second. Wait a second, that wasn't the final update. We have another update.
What? No way.
We have another update. Yes. Oh, if there's another update, you know it's probably going to be good for us. Update, July 25th, 2026, 7 months later. I stupidly ignored all of your advice and went on with the proposal, being hopeful of the self-awareness my girlfriend showed during our heart-to-heart talk after. I realize now that this was a mistake. It's really not a good idea to love someone's potential instead of who they are currently.
Wow, ain't that the truth?
What happened after is that she never made any concrete steps about the therapy she promised and just went back into her avoidant tendencies, ignoring my needs. Even with all that, I was still willing to push through with it, actually. That I admit was stupid in my part. The last straw for me happened just last Sunday when we were on a pre-wedding tradition in our country where the families of the couples would meet up and bond, and where the couples would proclaim their love for one another. So you're in a different country. Okay, so maybe it's just a cultural thing that people don't talk as much, or not saying it's right in every country, but maybe there's a cultural thing at play here. She said in this event that she doesn't need a man to be complete, and I'm that just a nice bonus for her. Also that she's the type of person not to feel butterflies in her stomach or excitement in the relationship, but she appreciates my consistency. What a weird thing to say. Worst part is that she never said she loved me in this event, not even once. Oh my God. I hope this is going where I think it's going. I understand that being independent is good, but it's not the right time and place for this, when it's supposedly the day we should show our love for one another in front of our families. I felt really unwanted during that moment, and I felt invalidated again for all my efforts and sacrifices. I talked with her earlier today about the hurts, and she invalidated me again. Shocker! Shocker! Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, f*** you. I hate to say it, but we were right.
You should listen to us.
I guess all I'll say is better late than never. That's when I decided to stand my ground and choose myself this time. At the end, she handed me back the ring and we broke up. Hallelujah!
Oh, hallelujah.
Yes! Oh, thank goodness. Stupid not to end this sooner, but I have found respect for myself after neglecting my needs for far too much. Better late than never. We all make mistakes. We're all blinded by what we think is love or low self-esteem or what we think we deserve. But I'm glad that eventually you got there and realized this isn't good enough for you. Okay? You have to think about what's important to you. You need someone who's going to give you the attention that you deserve. And this woman is not the right match for you. In the end, I think I was indeed the a-hole to both of us for dragging this for far too long. Thank you for all the advice. I hope we both heal from this in the future. I don't think you're an a-hole. I just think you tried to make it work. Ultimately, you came to the right decision. You got out of this toxic relationship, and I really do hope that you find someone who gives you what you need, which is love, validation, attention. And so many times in life, people avoid ending toxic relationships because they don't want to be alone. In my opinion, it could be worse and more destructive being in a toxic relationship than being alone. It took you a long time, but ultimately you came to the right conclusion. And for that, you are not crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, you're gonna love this one. Give me some love in the comments, and of course, subscribe.